Hi there, this is Jen, and thanks so much for stopping by today. Today I am creating a few cards using the Hedgehog Hollow Box of the Month for the month of July. This one is sold out, so if you've got it, here are a few more ideas for that box. If you are interested in subscribing to the box, there's another fabulous one coming for August, so I'll go ahead and leave a link for that below. For today's card, I'm using items from the box, so the ephemera pack, which is basically some sentiments and some flowers that you can foil or not, the paper pack, and then this wildflower stamp set. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the wildflower. And I have a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock cut to about 8 by 6, and I'm going to take some Versafine Black and stamp the image up multiple times. Originally, I was going to do some sketch cards and use my scan and cut to cut the flowers out, but the flower has kind of like this splatter on it, and I didn't want to lose that. And so at the end, when I finished stamping up everything, I was like, I really love the way this looks. It's almost like your own piece of pattern paper. And so I changed my plan for my cards. I went ahead and I stamped up one of the sentiments from that flower set, doing third generation stamping, which is basically stamping, inking up your stamp and then stamping it up twice and then stamping it on your project the third time, which gives a really lighter stamping effect. And then I picked out 4 of the pieces of pattern paper that I wanted to use. And what I'm doing now is I have my Tombow brush marker swatch sheet, and I am grabbing a color out of the pattern paper and coordinating it with the Tombow marker that I think works best. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to be coloring the flowers and also creating a mat for the card. And so this is why I love swatching, is because it's really easy to kind of coordinate and figure out your colors, especially if you're trying to coordinate with pattern paper or something, some other supply you have in your craft room. And so I've gone ahead and picked out all of my Tombow markers. And then I'm going to take up my stamped wildflowers, and I am cutting these to about 4 by 3, so there will be 4 different panels. The original was about 8 by 6. I didn't measure it too much because, like I said before, my idea was a little bit different at the beginning of this. So they are pretty close to 4 by 3 though. So for the coloring for all of the flowers, all I'm doing is I'm taking the Tombow marker, putting the color the strongest at the base. I'm wetting my brush and then basically just pouncing my wet brush onto the flowers. I'm not worried about getting color all over the flower. I'm not worried about going outside of the lines. It was just wanting to go for kind of a really organic, messier kind of look, I guess you could say. And then I'm going to take my brush and rub it against the tip of the Tombow marker and then just really lightly tap in the water, and that's going to give me a splatter with that same color that I colored the flower with. And so I'm going to repeat the same process for all of the flowers and all of the colors. The colors that I used in my Tombow markers, if you're interested, were 026, 835, 312, and 606 in that order. And then here I am making my card mats, and so I'm just taking the same coordinating Tombow color that I used for the flowers and just running a line around, kind of like a frame around another piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock, and then splattering that with water or spritzing that with water and then mopping that up, and that's going to be my card mat. And so now I'm going to start assembling all of my cards, and so I'm going to take the pattern paper, and each of these was cut a little bit differently. I just wanted to cover up the white space for that frame and just have the mat showing, and so some of them were cut a little bit different sizes than the others, but the white piece that I am matting on is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'll go ahead and finish off the first card. I basically just added that horizontal mat by flipping that piece of pattern paper over a leftover scrap of that pattern paper and flipping that over and adding that to the bottom and matting that on a piece of white cardstock. And then here I'm just adding a little bit of height to the back of that panel since it's going to have to go over that horizontal strip. I didn't want it to have like a bump or a ripple in the card, so I just added an extra piece of scratch paper behind that portion to give that some height. And I just basically went ahead and just did basically the same but a little bit different for each card. So for this first one, I added a piece of twine to the bottom. I popped up all the sentiments. So all of these sentiments are from that ephemera pack that came in the box. So this one I popped up the flower panel. This is the one that I showed previously, and that one's popped up, or the sentiments popped up on that one. For this one, I just distressed the edges of it a little bit. And then for this last one, this panel is popped up as well. I added some twine and a bow. This was a super fun project. I love creating multiple cards, especially ones that coordinate really well, and I'm so happy that this turned out how I wanted it to. I hope you enjoyed this video as well and maybe got a few ideas. If you did like this video or find it informative, I would love if you would give me a thumbs up. As always, I thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me, and I hope to see you next time.